Ladies and gentlemen, and members of the media, a pleasant good afternoon. Allow me first of all to extend best wishes to the proud people of St. Kitts and Nevis who are listening to this important press conference via Von Radio, Win FM, and Choice Radio. I'd first of all like to extend the condolences to the Chumley family for the loss and in their times of bereavement, this being the third murder for the year. It is unfortunate that due to strict government controls by the Prime Minister, we as citizens are not allowed to broadcast this presentation on our own ZIZ radio station that is paid for by the taxpayers of this country. It is unfortunate that after 26 years of independence, the Labour government is still stuck in the old ways of dictators who feel that the best way to control their citizens is to stifle the opinions in the media. As you may be aware, our party is barred from advertising and using ZIZ, not even to send a Christmas message or New Year's greetings. However, with the help of God and the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, the spirit of change will soon put such practices behind us. Monday, 25th January, will be a pivotal day in the history of this country that was so proudly led into independence in 1983 by our first Prime Minister, Dr. Sir Kennedy Alphonse Simmons. When the new national flag was raised into the night sky 2 decades ago, the heavens opened with a blessing for the nation that signaled that God was in the midst, providing guidance for our future and offering hope and goodwill to all our citizens. It was a moment that showed peace, joy, unity, and a promise for tomorrow. But unfortunately, my fellow citizens, members of the media, that promise for a brighter day, that hope for the future, has been threatened by the style of governance that is being provided by our current Prime Minister and his Labour administration. Not only have we seen the highest national debt, record crime and violence, high cost of living, the sellout of our best lands, and a worsening situation in our schools and hospitals, but we have also witnessed the dangerous paths and desperate tactics that this government is undertaking as it tries to hold on to power, even though the people are crying out that it is time for a change. Our reliable sources and friends within the government, they have warned us that it is the intention of the Prime Minister to do so, say and carry out any activity to stay in power. Our source has further cautioned that the Prime Minister has angrily told his advisors and colleagues that he will empty the treasury and spend more millions of taxpayers' dollars if it means keeping Pam out of power. It has also been brought to our attention by sources within the government who wish to disassociate themselves from certain actions and activities of Denzel Douglas, that the Labour government has vowed that they are not coming out of office and they are not giving up any power to the People's Action Movement, and they do not care if the people want change. They have told us to be careful, especially with our personal safety. And though we have stepped up our security and our intelligence gathering, we are not afraid, because as my mother always said, if God is for us, who can be against us? No weapon of the Labour government will form against the People's Brigade and their will for change. Recently, on Sunday, January 10th, I alerted this country about a plot by Dr. Douglas and a band of his lackeys who were going to attempt to carry out a campaign to smear the opposition and our candidates and our party. They denied that they were attempting to create a scandal and dirty our name. Ricky Skerritt went on local radio and claimed that he was not aware of such a plot and that Labour was not attempting smear activities on the People's Action Movement. Labour claimed that the plot I revealed was false and that I made it up to score points. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, it was I who told you since the 10th of January that our intelligence sources had discovered the plot and that we needed to find out exactly what Labour was up to. But what you have to ask, my friends, is this: why is Labour so afraid to lose power? What is it that Labour has to hide? What is it would a new government find out? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are now seeing that what I warned you about and what I told you about was in fact the truth, as Labour is now admitting that they in fact approved the plot. Has anybody asked where is all this money coming from to fund the Labour campaign? Have you stopped to ask why does Labour want to stay in power that badly? But when you remember 1993, you would understand that Labour would do anything, whether it is legal or illegal, to stay in power. We need to know who is paying for all these expensive artists, all these expensive sound and lighting systems from Europe, all these advisors from England, and all these big billboards and material. We have been reliably informed that Labour has now spent in excess of $10 million on their campaign. As Pam has demonstrated, we have been running an open and honest campaign, which is the same style that we intend to use if the people elect us to serve them on Monday. On the other hand, we have been asking the Prime Minister for over a week to explain his relations and interests in Lex Consulting LLC, and he continues to refuse to provide the people with an explanation. The Prime Minister needs to explain, not to me, but to the nation, all that he knows about Lex Consulting LLC. Until he does that, let me outline what we know. 1, that Lex Consulting LLC is presently registered in the name of his girlfriend and the mother of his children, Miss Alex Kate Woodley. 2, that the registered offices are in fact in the private home of Miss Woodley at 3265 Bainbridge Avenue, apartment B52, Bronx, New York, 10467-3000. 3, we are also aware that the Prime Minister has access to the banking accounts of Lex Consulting LLC, and that he, as recent as the 13th of January, a matter of 6 days ago, wrote a check for $40,000 made out to the Labour Committee in St. Kitts. 4, that Dr. Douglas, on December the 30th, 2009, personally, in his own handwriting, wrote a check from Lex Consulting LLC US bank account at the National Bank in the amount of $95,000, or a sum of EC $256,500. This is just one of the many checks that he wrote and were made payable to himself, Dr. Denzel Douglas. Dr. Douglas, please tell this country, where did you get this money from that you paid from this account to yourself?